During the tantruming, coming back to Piquet, she wouldn't ever want me to leave. She wouldn't want me to be close, and if I did come too close, she would be violent towards me and towards herself. What would she do if you got too close to her? She would hit me or kick me. What else? She'd just scream until she had no words, till she would go to the stage where she would be like jerking and she'd be crying so hard. And see, now obviously the question I'm asking is because the thought of Moschus may have come to my mind, because I asked, did her lips get blue or things like that? The mother says no. And you said the throat was bleeding during this time. He said, yeah, she would scream. The blood was coming from somewhere in her spit. Then how would it end? Oh, it would just stop. Usually it would end by us being able to pick her up and hold her and let her calm down. Like finally she'd let us hold her to get her calm down, rocking and walking her around, and all this would happen in the middle of the night. So most of the tantrums, this is again another characteristic, would happen in the middle of the night. During the day she wasn't as bad. She was run up and down the hallway. It was like we weren't even there. There was nothing we could do. So it was walking and rocking together, just whatever worked at that time. Sometimes rocking her in a rocking chair, sometimes picking her up, walking with her, looking out of the window, trying to point at the airplanes. Can you describe how you would walk her around? Well, her legs around us and her head on my shoulders. Because that's a very specific rubric again, desire to be carried on the shoulder. You know, you have remedies like Sina, etc. in that. And with all this, there was also fever, yes. So symptoms of strep throat. She starts to swallow a lot, and then she gets these thick glands. So there's glandular involvement going on. So the remedy has to cover each and every part of this. Her voice gets thick. Do these glands get hot? Yes, sometimes hot. And she's swallowing a lot. The mucus is also very thick and it's difficult to swallow. So she's reading in between, as I told you, extracts from the Black Beauty. And she said this particular picture when, you know, before the Black Beauty, the horse jumps out into the sea and then the boy also follows. She kept saying, oh, you know, she was so scared. She wanted to know what was happening to the horse, what was happening to the boy, was anyone getting hurt. She's also scared with sounds. So at that point there was energy there, so I thought it's good to spend enough time with that and said, what else is she scared of? She said, well, ever since she was a baby, the dog would jingle its collar and she would come running on her tiptoes. You know, machines that would beep, she'd cling. She wouldn't go back to those stores which had those kind of machines for months together. Very scared of sounds of trucks. She doesn't go into the backyard by herself, all those electric saws. Someone was cutting down a tree and she grabbed onto me. She's scared of thunder. She gets startled if it's really loud. She'll scream for me. It's a blood-curdling scream. She'll cry and she'll wrap herself around my body. In which other situations do you notice these kind of blood-curdling screams? It's mostly sounds, big trucks, big thunder. She used to be afraid of the jingling of the dog's collar. She thinks the trucks are going to come into our yard and dig out our house. She's afraid of fire trucks because she thinks they will start a fire. And then I noticed some things. The mother was talking, and while she's talking, she's putting her own hair in her mouth. Then she also mentioned that when there was a fire in the local vicinity, some friends had come to stay with them because they had been evacuated, their houses had burned down. At this point I noticed the child was thumping her hand on the desk a lot. But probably during that time the child got this idea of the fire truck and the association with fire. Then she's horrified with doctors. She was okay, but then since this catheter thing and the bladder infections, they had to strap her down, and she screamed then, and since then she's very, very apprehensive. This was there in the case form, so I had realized we need to be very careful and make her feel comfortable enough before I start to examine her or we start talking about her chief complaints. Tremendous fear of stethoscopes. Then there were these gut infections. So again, in between there are phases where she'll stop everything, she'll curl into her mother's lap, she'll hold on to her blanket. The inside of her ear gets very red, a sudden fever. With the gut pain, it gets very tight. She goes through periods where she gets loose stools and lots of them, watery and yellow-brown. It seems like they are painful, not comfortable to pass. And then she'll come and say, I really had a yucky poop. It's very sour to smell. Sometimes she asks me to put cream on it. Not often associated with vomiting, but she's very sensitive. Or any kind of slightest of stress tells on her. It was happening a lot after we moved to our new house. She was having lots of tantrums then. So she was missing the old home and she'd keep thinking about it. She wasn't sleeping well. What about the sore ear symptoms? It would always be when her brother was sleeping. If you tried to help her to be calm, it would make it worse. It would be better just to ignore her. It was like a wild animal, snarling, spitting, the way she was acting, almost some kind of a Wolverine. It was wild, growling. It was happening twice a day. And then she's got a big hemangioma, strawberry hemangioma. That birthmark would get very red. So this would, even the mother talks about this at some point, about wolves and wolverines, and this comes up very prominently in the case. Then the moon phases. As I told you, the eclipse thing came up earlier, and she said, well, she gets really wild. She is really sensitive with the full moon. I wouldn't dare let her get close to the TV. She zonks out when she's watching it, but after she's cranky, she's obsessed and wants to watch even more TV. Cradled her mother's arms, playing with her mother's nose. If she gets stuffed nose, my nose is not working, and she starts to scream. Very marked night aggravation of symptoms. With her cold, the mother, she said that I have also been very congested, and when it was at its worst, I thought my ears were going to explode. She uses the expression explode. I talked to her about the history during pregnancy, mother's history in pregnancy. I felt my eardrums were going to burst. The pressure was so bad, it was so congested, all down my jaw and into my teeth, a lot of pressure. I couldn't hear anything. I was the crankiest I had ever been. I was so sick, so tired, so crabby. I was exhausted. I would just lay in bed and order room service and a lot of sleep, and I was okay. So there was a wedding in her husband's good friend was getting married, so they had to go to Chicago or somewhere. And she said, I just didn't want to. He was very excited. He wanted me to introduce me to all his friends. She said, nothing to. You just go, because if I come, I'm so crabby. I'm just going to be fighting with everyone. So just leave me here and make sure room service gets me what I want. It was that kind of a situation. His friends were coming down. I couldn't wait in the elevator. I pushed the button. I was really frustrated. I wanted to be alone. I needed some quiet time. This was in the first 4 months. Then I was okay. She's a masseur. She was enjoying her job, but her work involved standing a lot. It would get really tight and feel like menstrual cramps, and there was some bleeding. Something more about tight and crampy, I get a really low back pain in my hips, like a tight band. I was working a lot, so I got plantar fasciitis. It felt like my feet would rip apart, and it got red and swollen. So again, explode, rip apart, these kind of words, expressions. What about your cravings during pregnancy? I like spicy. I remember right before I had her, I wanted hot wings all the time. I was actually in labor and water broke and I wanted hot wings. I had midwives, the water broke and I was home, so they got me hot wings. I also craved tea. I remember telling my husband to take me to a tea house. We played Scrabble there, drank Earl Grey tea. What kind of spices? A lot of paprika. We have this black truffle salt that I use a lot. So I remember using that a lot in my cooking. I ate a lot of Indian curries and Thai food, but this would keep me awake at night. So sometimes I wouldn't have it just for that sake, but that was the craving. Just helping to build your appetite a bit. Now there was also one very traumatic thing that happened with her. She said that right after she was born, we went to visit our friends and a week later their daughter died. She was just 1 year older than me. The mother, and her daughter died. That affected me a lot. I was depressed. My child was just 3 weeks old. I had been sleeping in a room with her, but I needed to sleep alone after this friend's daughter died because I was awake and I couldn't sleep. I was so sad. I wanted to be alone. At this point, the child starts touching the mother's face and hair, and I wanted to be alone, have some space, because I'm really close to that family. Her sister is the same age as me, so her sister and I see each other a lot. But I had to be away from my kid. It was probably like some kind of a detachment from her. I was depressed for a good year, and I started to get mastitis and thrush at the funeral. And my daughter would get thrush every year at the same time as the funeral. For many years, just at that time, she would get the thrush. I had mastitis and she would get thrush. And she was nursing. It almost felt like she had glass in her mouth when she nursed. What about dreams during pregnancy? Oh, it was like the end of the world, and like I was being chased by zombies. I can't watch any scary movie. I'm really afraid of people breaking into my house if my husband is not home. When we lived in our condo, I didn't have those feelings. But as a kid, I was very afraid. I was scared that someone was going to come into the room and get me. At that point, for me, now the picture is getting clearer, so I asked some specific leading questions, and I also sort of repertorizing the main symptoms and the case. So I asked this symptom, what about bathing, water, cleanliness? That she is okay, but she doesn't like washing her hair because water goes in her nose and eyes, and that's when she'll start to scream. What about washing hands and other personal hygiene? Oh, we have to remind her all the time. She could just sit with all that dirt and muck and start to eat if we allowed her. Then a lot of sibling rivalry. She gets jealous and she wants the brother to be taken away. She snatches toys from him. She doesn't like to get cold. She'll often say, I'm cold, I need my blanket, and she can get really worked up then. Screaming and fussy and worked up, but at night she likes to be warm. Even in the summer, with the heat, she wants flannel pajamas, just right and not too hot. What else can make her face red? Well, she has a fever, her cheeks get really flushed, The eyes look glazed, they get kind of droopy, there's a sick breath. I know the moment I can feel that, the breath is like that, I know she's going down. And I've noticed even today, so when she'd come there for the interview, she said she's heading in for something, so I'm glad we've had this interview today. And I'm hoping that we don't have to, something like this, within a day or two, the antibiotic is required. So I knew this is a very challenging time and we need to get it just right. And it was a good time to see the child at that time, because I'm also noticing I can hear her swallowing. She gets a sore vagina, it's often red and smelly, and she says, I stink, Mom. So this gets us, this is the case. One thing which you should maybe pay attention to before I'd like to hear your views on it. We'll take a little break, but just before that, because when there's yeast infection, children start getting very hyper. This is a very important point, because you will immediately know that with that they can, and you will see the child now even jumping on the mother, and this becomes a very important. I was discussing this thing with John Melnichuk the other day, and he said even with children with autism, where the yeast infection is very high, this kind of hyperactivity with jumping towards the evening becomes very prominent. And at that point, as a homeopath, it's nice to know how you want to deal with it, whether to repeat high doses, frequent doses, or even think of some intercurrent remedies which can handle yeast in an appropriate way. I find Sina and bowel nosodes for such situations extremely useful, creosote and Cantheris occasionally.